All right, coming up on today's show, I'm going to give my take on a take given by an NFL.com analyst when it comes to Caleb Williams. Pretty bold take out there. We react next here on Chicago Bears Now. All right, welcome into Chicago Bears Now. My name is Harrison Graham. Is a historic year coming for Caleb Williams? Well, according to Jeffri Chadiha of NFL.com, writes a lot of articles for them, he thinks a monster season is coming. And honestly, to the point where I'm like, I'm a big Caleb guy. I don't know if I could go this far. Here's what he had to say, quote, Caleb Williams will throw for 4,500 yards and 35 touchdowns. There's a lot of anticipation surrounding the Bears' second-year quarterback and his ability to make good on all the promise that made him the top pick in the 2024 draft. He later went on to say that he would dwarf 4,000 yards and 30 touchdowns, which neither have been done by a Bears quarterback. If he does that, 4,500 passing yards and 35 touchdowns, he's in the MVP race, because they're going to be winning a lot, and I just think any Bears quarterback that dwarfs the best numbers in franchise history, that'll catch voters' attention. He would be an MVP finalist if he pulled that off. Eric Kramer, sadly, still has the record for pass yards and touchdowns. Actually, you know what? I think it's 39-01. 38-38 was Jay Cutler. Beyond the point, there's never been a 4,000-yard passer. Kramer is sitting alone, and Eric Kramer has not played ball for a long time. 4,000 yards should be well within reach. Well within reach. I just think the pieces that are here, the coach that's coming in, Caleb's talent alone, 17-game schedule. If he plays all 17 games, that should be an achievable number. Doesn't mean it's a gimme. Doesn't mean it's easy. In fact, last year it was a little tougher across the league than it had been in previous years, which we'll outline. But I think that is very much on the table this year. Okay, subscribe. We have a lot more to come here on this show. If you want daily Bears videos all off-season long segments like this one, hit that notification bell after you subscribe. So last year, there was actually only 6 4,000-yard passers. Joe Burrow, who really diving into this, if they had just made the playoffs, I think he would have won the MVP. He flirted with 5,000 yards. We'll get to the touchdowns in a minute, but he was unreal. Jared Goff, obviously with Ben Johnson. Baker Mayfield, 4,500. Geno Smith, 4,320. Sam Darnold, 4,319. Lamar Jackson, 6th in the NFL with 4,172. No other player threw for 4,000 yards. Now, bit of an outlier in the 17-game era, which obviously started in 2021. Every year except for last year, so the 3 previous, 21, 22, and 23, had at least 9 4,000-yard passers. And in 21 and 23, I believe, there was 10. So about a third of the starters in those seasons reached 4,000 yards. So not like a huge percentage, but an achievable benchmark if you're a good quarterback in a good offense. Now, I've always maintained, I think the data has shown us, it's much tougher to throw for 30 touchdowns because there's kind of randomness to it. Yards aren't that random unless you're just a garbage time merchant. Like I remember Blake Bortles that one year when they were horrible. He would throw for like 150 yards every second half because they're just getting killed in these games. So he almost threw for 4,000 one year. But touchdowns are a little more random because you get on the goal line, then you hand it off, right? So last year there were only 5 who threw for 30-plus, and ironically, they all threw for 35-plus. So to Chadiha's point, maybe he thinks Caleb is going to enter that territory. But I do think 30 touchdown passes is tougher than 4,000 yards. And there's a lot of reasons for that. You know, more teams lean into dual threat kind of run schemes on inside the red zone. There can be random things that happen. Whereas yards that you're picking up, it's kind of easy to rack up yards. Regardless of context, but touchdowns, it's a lot tougher to get into the end zone because the window's shortened and all that stuff. So I do think 4,000 yards is more achievable than 30 touchdowns. What is more likely in your opinion? If you had to say, okay, I think this is more likely than that. If you think it's 4,000 passing yards, type 4. If you think it's 30 touchdowns, type 30. I think 4,000 is more achievable. I forget the number, but I think it's like less than 230 yards per game if you play all 17 games. So when you really think about it, it's like that should happen more often, although I think defenses have kind of bounced back and adjusted well the last couple of years, but definitely typing my 4 on that one. Speaking of 4, the 4th of July, just around the corner. Get yourself some Independence Day gear today. A little Bears theme here. Chatsports.com/Bears 4th. That link is available in the comments and description of this video. You got the little Bears flag going as well. Other items available like quarter zips, a couple of hoodies, winter jackets, but just showing kind of the summer gear right now. Chatsports.com/Bears 4th. Click and shop today. So you look at Caleb's year last year, because Chadiha is saying another 1,000 passing yards, 15 more touchdown passes. That's a climb. Like, that's not, like, I don't think those numbers that he's suggesting are necessary to qualify as like a breakout, like a big leap in year 2. We'll get to kind of what I would consider a good step forward later in the video, but let's just kind of outline how big of a jump this would actually be if he pulled this off. So last year, 20 touchdowns, 41 yards. Obviously, I think respectable numbers, good numbers. Given the hype, probably a little underwhelming, but we've broken down the factors there, the coaching, the offensive line, all that stuff. And in theory, a lot of that's been fixed, and just a year of growth. Well, the NFL.com projection from Jeffri Chadiha, to go from 20 to 35 touchdown passes, that is a 75% increase. It's almost double. It would be almost doubling the output. And remember, Caleb played all 17 games last year. So, that's a big leap. And then 4,500 passing yards, that's a 27% increase. Like, that is a lot. Now, if you ask me, is 4,500 yards or 35 touchdowns more likely, I'd still go 4,500. But last year, only 3 guys did it? Baker, Goff, and Joe Burrow. Like, that's not that easy to do. 4,000, I don't want to call it easy, but the fact that the Bears have never done it is a total embarrassment. It happens to random quarterbacks all the time. But to go 4,500 and 35 touchdown passes, that's almost unfair. It's almost unrealistic. Like, you're telling me if Caleb threw for 4,228 touchdowns, that wouldn't be a huge jump? I think that'd be a pretty damn big fucking jump. That's my thought on that, which is why I've kind of thrown this. Like, 3% increase in completion percentage, 500-ish increase in passing yards from 35-41. Let's hit 4,000. Let's get rid of that stupid record that's never been passed. 5 touchdown pass increase. Also increase in interceptions. Like, take more chances. I want Caleb to take more chances. So numbers should be up across the board. I think he can increase these numbers could be higher, but I think this is like a fair, like, hey, let's take these steps. Be a little more accurate. More volume passing yards and more efficient in doing so. Let's get into the end zone a little bit more. And yeah, let's maybe a few more turnovers. That would be perfectly fine as well, if that means you're generating more explosive plays. So again, could it be larger than that? Yes. But let's jog before we sprint here. I think last year we reached a healthy, brisk walk. It was a tidal wave up and down, but in the end, you add the season up. It's like, okay, this is a good enough start. But to go from that to an MVP candidate, which is what Chadiha is suggesting, I'm not going to say it's impossible, but I think it's almost unfair. Like, it's almost unrealistic. So let's reach 4,000. Let's increase the touchdowns and accuracy a little bit here. And then, maybe year 3, when a lot of quarterbacks really start to figure things out in the NFL. Like, even Patrick Mahomes is on record saying, I didn't really know what the fuck I was doing until year 3. Maybe that's when the huge jump comes. But I think what I just suggested is certainly a big jump. Okay, predict Caleb's stats for 2025 down in the comments below. You just saw kind of my expectations. I want to hear from you guys now on today's video. Curious to see what Bears fans project for Caleb Williams. My name is Harrison Graham. Don't forget to subscribe, turn on notifications. That way you never miss a video here on the channel. And before you know it, Training Camp will be here. Bear down.